Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all well. Remember, there's a 20 to 40-second delay on the stream depending on where you are around the world. So if you ask me a question, if I don't respond, there is a little bit of a delay, so it just gets to you and buffers properly. All right. Today, the topic is when you have a partner where not only do you seem to fight, but they seemed annoyed at you all the time. And no matter how much you try and talk and you don't want to fight, they just get annoyed at the smallest things. Now, obviously, this is a sign of larger things. When you're away from that situation and a person would be describing their relationship like that, as in, they just get annoyed at every little thing I do, they roll their eyes, everything irritates them. They don't want to be around you, and they don't realize it. You don't get along, you're not compatible, all of those fairly logical things. But sometimes, it's all well and good for us when we're older, we've had experience to avoid those things, but there are some people who find themselves getting married very young. They're still naive, they might not have picked a very nice person, and they didn't know it, and they only found out later, or you only find out who you are in your late 20s and early 30s. Some people a lot earlier than others. And the unfortunate thing is you find out exactly who you are and what you want, and then you look at the person you've chosen many years ago, and it's not the person you should be with, and you know that. And I think for those people who don't do that self-reflection, who don't have that realization, they're not interested in it. They just keep getting irritated at the person they're with, and their body is telling them that they just don't like being around them. And it's far from a woo-woo saying. I know we've heard it many times before about the right person will blah, blah, blah. And when you meet the right person, it will blah, blah, blah. It annoys me too, okay? It annoys me when I hear that from people that, in my situation have said, well, see, when you found the right person, you did want to get married. It's like, no, I never wanted to get married. This was contextually based upon meeting Stephanie and the time of my life and me wanting to make that choice for myself, right? And whenever they give you this precognition, like, oh, well, that was always going to happen, the universe was always going to, yeah, sure, buddy. I really dislike that stuff. But getting back to the topic of today's stream, let me know your thoughts when it feels like your partner hates you, and they might even say, well, I've just got a temper. I just like everything organized. I'm impatient. I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. But all the time, they just get annoyed at everything. But they say they love you, yet everything bugs them. But then notice them around their friends and other people that they've organically fit well with and they get along with. There isn't as much at stake, or rather, they don't need to be as intrinsically compatible as you and your partner need to be. When you notice with their friends and family and elsewhere, they don't get annoyed. They're not angry at them. They're happy. But around you, they're irritated. That's the uncomfortable truth that many of us have experienced and we don't want to face, because we like them. We want it to work. We're trying our best. We value it. Everything just doesn't want to throw this person away that we found, that ostensibly we feel like, oh, maybe it's me, maybe it's a situation, circumstances and things like that. But it is difficult. And there are a lot of people in the comment section, because today I was referencing a video I just uploaded on my channel. And the video was, let me have a look, this one here. This one. trying to keep your partner happy will only make you miserable. I was recounting a video I just watched, and I think it's been pushed to a few people in our community about, I think it's a 57-year-old man called Gerald. And I think by now he's already divorced, but it was a video, a very popular video that he put up a little while ago where he was close to getting divorced, and his wife literally just hated him and got angry at him at every word, and just the sight of him. They didn't sleep in the same bed. And I remember to a low degree, I experienced this, particularly when I noticed this isn't going well, this may end, this isn't the person for me. But what if you find yourself married, or you've moved in, you've taken a lot of steps forward, and now to unravel all of that is a lot of effort, sadness, and work. And you feel like, well, maybe if I can adjust a few things, it's okay. You don't want to jump too quickly, right? There's a lot of people that are impulsive. They get into relationships really quickly, and then they get out of relationships impulsively. And that's not good either, because later on, they'll be thinking like, I was an idiot. Why'd I break up with them? I was just in one of those moments. So you need to really check your impulsivity. And yes, assess the moment. Try logically, especially with conversation. I can't stress this enough. Especially with open, honest conversation, not manipulation, not gaslighting, not trying to get your own way, but really laying the cards on the table and you giving your no's and your yeses honestly, and them giving their no's and their yeses honestly, so that both of you realize clear as day, okay, we really want different things in life, probably. Or it might just be a misunderstanding. I've had those moments too. Not necessarily towards the downward spiral, but with friends, family, and once or twice with partners, getting to know them at the start, where I thought, this is a bad sign, and it doesn't look like this person's for me. And I talked about it with them, and all of a sudden it was like, no, I thought you meant this. No, I didn't mean that at all. Of course not. And I was like, that completely wipes away that feeling. We're still great for each other. So make sure you communicate. But if you do and you can't, like in Gerald's case, that's a really difficult thing, because he has a child with this woman that he's divorced with. So it is something that's fairly difficult to go through. If you are here during the stream, as always, make sure you leave, if you would like to participate in this discussion we're having now about partners seeming like they get annoyed at you and hate you, and there's nothing you can do or say to smooth it over. Leave your comments, if you want to comment here and get me to read something out that's sensible or something you've learnt, especially, I encourage that, because I want us to have these conversations like I'm trying to do in my videos, to impart some sort of wisdom of the experience you had, so that others might be going through the same things, but they're alone. They don't have anyone they can talk to deeply about this stuff, especially for guys, because it's not really guy conversation. It should be more of, but guys kind of brush it off, and their conversation is just to be tough and white knuckle their way through things. So please, if you have any short experiences or very short elucidating lessons that you've learned that changed you and you were never that person again, and it helped you, helped you in those moments where you can speak up to that partner, or you don't tolerate that anymore, or the moment you realize that you're never going to have a relationship with this kind of person again that ostensibly hates you, and they should be feeling the exact opposite for you. I think that's the demoralizing effect. The person that should care about you the most and have your back the most treats you worse than a stranger on the street. I remember seeing some of my exes while I was with them, arguing and frustrating and not being able to get along, and seeing them when we're at a cafe or we're out in public, family and friends, and their smiles and they're so nice, and it's like, why can't I get this person? Why I'm seeing her, but when we get in the car and we're alone, she's a completely different personality. She literally almost hates me. Not literally, figuratively almost hates me. So it's tough. And I have sympathy for Gerald. Some people may have, a snide under the comments and will say, well, it's his own fault. It's not her fault. He should get out of it. True. But say you chose this person when you were less aware, because Gerald seems fairly aware, self-aware in the car when he's telling us this story. That self-aware person seems like he talks. And I would say that he probably got together with her many, many years ago. I don't know the details. But again, if you would like to relay some of your experiences here, add 3 smiley faces like this example below. Add 3 emojis, and I will do my best to answer the questions. But this is the question, you know. My partner is annoyed at me all the time, it seems. And you don't know what to do. Hi to the regulars, Peg, David P, Sean C, Armand Ghost, Melee, Neanderthal, how are you? Yeah, this is also a good comment. Ruben says, vetting in that she did not have a good relationship with her father and it should have been a clue. Is that stereotyping? No. I think the more if you find there's little irritations and question marks and she's got a temper and she's very short and she doesn't listen, she wants things her own way, and the relationship is more all about her and her world, her needs, what she wants to do in her lifestyle, and very, very little about you, where for you to enjoy your lifestyle, you have to kind of do it on your own. Like you go off on your own and you jog on your own. You go off and do your hobbies on your own. Discussions you would like to have with her, she's not really interested in. So when you start to notice those little things that make you uncomfortable, like you're not as immersed in her as you would like to be. Like your friends and your family, you can talk to a lot more broadly, but with her, it's very, very confined and only her way. And that's the only way you can be in a relationship. But you can't share your inner world with her. That's an important one. And I knew that from a long time ago with myself, that the clarifying thing for me with a partner is if I cannot share my inner world, if I can't be an open filter like I am with you to my potential partner, like I have to stop saying like so much. I hate those filler words. If I have to say like my previous partners, and especially my previous one, I created this channel because I had no one to talk to about the difficulties of life, putting up in an online fashion my written journal. They just didn't want to hear about it. Every time I wanted to talk about past, not in a traumatic way, but in an interesting way. Like, do you ever think that when you're a child, because of A, B, and C, that's why you react this way? Or do you ever think with your exes, when you tolerated this, it was really because of this, and what did you learn? Every time I said those things, my ex and 1 or 2 beforehand were like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that stuff. That's in the past. I've dealt with it. Like, you know, you really need to deal with this stuff. It's kind of like shaming in like, I'm putting it in the rearview mirror, which is great, but I want to know about you, the good, the bad, whatever, the stuff that's on your mind. Like if my partner had stuff that I find easy, like she's struggling with a fear of something, and to me it's nothing, or it's a fear I dealt with, or an insecurity I dealt with when I was a teenager. Like, you know, an adolescent, ridiculous, naive kind of like a juvenile fear or anxiety. And she's still dealing with it in her 40s or 50s. And she's like, yeah, this still bothers me. I'm like, you know what? Get over it. Go to therapy or something. Like I've dealt with it. I don't want to talk to you about it. If your partner cannot share with you the happiest, the most positive inner experiences, but also the things that they want to share to feel better and that they've got someone to lean on. If they can't do that, like some of my exes, and they roll their eyes, then that is, I'm sorry, uncomfortable sign that you have to keep pushing honestly and saying, I need to talk about this. If I can't talk about it with you, maybe we shouldn't be together. I should be able to talk about anything repetitively until I feel better about it, until I can't just put it on paper. I can't just put it on a YouTube video and then hide it from you because Chicky Poo rolls her eyes at me. I can only be a neutral or strong stoic monolith to her. Like I can't just be a strong archetype all the time. You have to accept and love your partner in 3 dimensions. Hey, Neanderthal, hope you're going well. Hope you're getting over your father slowly. I know you never will, but I hope you're feeling better than you did last week. Condolences for your father's passing. I think I said that already, but if I didn't. Melee says there is no right person. And also don't discount this, because I'll openly admit this as well. In the past, I had my own problems. I didn't speak up. And so if I would have met Stephanie 10, 20 years ago, the relationship would have been really difficult. Now, Stephanie and I really connect, so we probably would have ended up eventually together anyway. But I would have put a lot of barriers between me and her. And it's only as I got older that the barriers came down. It took me a long time to kind of get the courage just to speak openly and unapologetically, just tell someone who I am. And this isn't woo-woo. This is just, you can laugh at it as a tough dude, bro. But if you can just speak honestly, good, bad, insecurities, whatever, you don't have to fall apart. You don't have to use female language, but just give them your worries, anxieties, fears, strengths, what you love doing. Yeah, I love playing video games. I don't care what you think. It's awesome. And I love it because of this, this, and this. No apologies. Be who you are and express it. Get a person to see exactly who you are in clarity. Speak clearly as much as you can. And you're off the hook. You sleep better. As I said in my video. All these problems we have, and a lot of them, okay, you could have a medical problem with not sleeping well, or some sort of DNA issue with your personality that's sincerely diagnosed by a professional and things like that. But 95% of the stuff is just bullshit. It's people that are cowardly and that are lazy, and then just keep circling their biases, their convenient, lazy biases that allow them to do the same thing again. Oh, it's the government, it's women, it's men, it's this and that. It's like, well, have you tried doing things differently so you're never to blame? You know it's 100% the other person. Well, what's the point of me doing that if they don't do it? So they've got to do it first, do they? You're the 5-year-old and they're the adult. You really expect the bimbos out there to grow up before you? And I think that's why people make fun of an extreme example like David Goggins, is like, self-ownership is one of the most liberating things possible. By default, if you can look at yourself and say, I'm going to own everything as much as possible. Objectively, if someone else is rude, you acknowledge that. You're not going to take everything, of course, but debasement and blaming people and this victimhood, everyone's sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. It got me nowhere. You blame people for bad behavior, but at the end of the day, just take on as much as you can. Your life will be better. You will feel much more in control than you ever had, instead of the impotent feeling of all the other online stuff that is like, yeah, I would have been successful, famous, happy, but if only they would have not done this, not done that. All right. Did I read this? Yes, I did. I take ownership in that I didn't vet them correctly or thoroughly. Yeah. Let me refresh this to all chats. Neanderthal says the only girlfriend I've experienced hating on me, I found out was very immature, like 14 years old on the inside while being 40 on the outside. Ooh. She still thought I could read her mind. This is the dangerous thing. When you get older as a guy, there are some people that stay 18, 25, and they have not moved. A visual giveaway is a lot of these women who have Botox and plastic surgery and stuff. That's a given. You can see that from orbit. That's the hard thing, because you assume, okay, you're older like me. I'm dating with intent. There's not many of us around. Let's be specific and let's get off this dating treadmill. There's very, very few sensible people to date out there, let alone, even if you meet a sensible person, a decent person, you still might not be compatible. It happened to me a few times. the chances of you finding someone to be happy with get smaller and smaller to the point of almost zero once you start getting into your middle age and beyond. And I understand why a lot of guys give up. It was blind luck that Stephanie contacted me and we started talking, because a couple of years before Stephanie, I gave up and I was completely out. I wasn't focused on it anymore. I talked about experiences of ex-girlfriends, but in my life, I had no interest anymore. And it's very, very hard to find a companion when you're older. So the sooner you get serious and honest, like if you could, I always just wanted to check it off and just have someone. I don't want to keep, you know, those people that just upgrade their cars every year. It's like, what's the point, dude? I get it if you're into cars, like comic books, you buy one every month, you get a car every year. Okay. But when you're trying to tell me that there's some sort of practical, I don't know, objective way of, like, that's the correct way to do it, I just don't get it. Maybe it's a fetish, I'm not sure, but don't you just want to, aren't you, when you get a good friend, right? Don't you just want to have a friend, a really good friend that you can talk to when you've got stuff on your mind, you can hang out with, it's not hard. Don't you just want that locked in and just have them there? Like a good dog, like a good romantic partner, you know? Someone that you can treat, you can have like a friend. It's just, I don't get people recycling this romanticization of I'm the lone wolf, yet the lone wolf keeps bitching about everything about the lone wolf lifestyle. Why are you complaining? You have what you want, but you don't want the world to support. You're complaining that the world doesn't support you. The woke crowd does that all the time. We want this, we want that. Don't tell me what to do. I don't want kids. I don't want to get married. I don't want this, so I don't want that. Okay, you don't want anything. Stop trying to have a relationship with the world as well. Stay on your own, lock yourself up, say nothing. Say nothing. Why are you still having a dialogue and trying to have a relationship with the whole world in this amorphous, massive way? All you hear from the woke crowd and all the girl power chicks and a lot of the guys online is just complaining. I used to do some of it before as well. I'm not proud of it. I'd rather talk to a real person that's like, oh, this is what I did. This is where I screwed up. You know what I learned from this? I learned this, this, and this. You talk to some of these people. What did you learn? I learned that it's all their problem. Again, it's like, really? It's always everyone else. You were born perfect, were you? Did you learn anything? No, I was perfect. From when I was born till now. It's just everyone else can't see my brilliance. And I keep running into these idiots who can't understand how brilliant I am. And I keep picking. Well, if you're so brilliant, why do you keep picking the idiots you know everyone is? I'm just too nice. I have a heart. No, you don't. You're stupid then. You wouldn't pick them. People and their excuses, I swear. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at some point, aren't you going to turn a different corner, get on a different bus, try something new, instead of getting on the same thing because it's comfortable and then complaining again because it's comfortable? You know all the complaints off by heart. You know all the dangers off by heart that really aren't dangers, but they're just great negative stories you can share in comment sections. Anyway. Yes, Darren, know thyself. Write it down, speak it, have better friends, start a YouTube channel, start a blog. Thanks, Human, and everyone else. I miss my father, and it will be a long process, and it already started something to change in me. Perspective is a bit different already. Yeah, I would have guessed that. I mentioned it in the stream I did after your father's passing, that me and everyone else, if you don't really change, at least in a little bit of a way, but most of the time it's a big shift. I already made a big shift where I was done with spending all my time dating. I was done with that. I was focusing on the relationships I already had in my life with people and the relationships I had with things like my channel and my writing and my sleep and my health and my work. Just, really refining all of that which I had, which is pretty much appreciating everything I have and being grateful and fine tuning it and being a good steward of everything I had. And then my father passed away, and it just ramped it all up to 10. And it was like, no, I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to really appreciate every day with everything I have, and I'm going to be coherent and present and, grateful and engaged in conversations and think and not be lost in my head and be here and now and be responsible for the near future, but not goal-oriented in like 10 years or anything. And I think I've more or less, I'm not ashamed of the way I've been living now. I've been fairly consistent. And then after that, Stephanie came along, so meeting her was more her doing than me. And then after that, it was my doing in taking the opportunity, because I realized that she was different to the other girls I was with till that point. But in terms of what you're saying, Neanderthal, when my father passed away, just went up to 10. I was already at a 7 or an 8, like, yep, my life's completely different. I'm not the same guy. Dad just pushed me right to the limit, and it was like, that's it. This is going to be completely this way, because I'm not going to dishonor my father's memory by lying about this conviction right now. Yeah. Everyone matures at different rates too. I was always a late bloomer, which I always was a little bit proud of, because I stayed young at heart. I stayed fit. I played sport longer. I stayed healthier. I stayed curious longer. Some people that mature really quickly, they give up on life. Their curiosity fades and diminishes. So you really need to be aware of yourself and how you're feeling. Like physically, it's easier. Your body tells you when and where you're deteriorating and maybe where you need to step it up to stop the deterioration. Your mind, but also your mind in touch with your philosophy of life, your ethics and your values. Stay on top of them. Don't let your brain and your will and your reason to wake up and be inspired about life and feel the color of life, the things that you live for that make you feel alive. Pay attention to them. Some things will fall away, fine. There are a lot of things that I can't pretend to be interested in this anymore. It's just not. But I do want to continue to feel alive in things, and something over here, I really want to try this out. Try it. Do it. You got less to lose as you get older as well. Armored Ghost, youth maxed, yeah. I always thought, my youthful attitude and maturing late and learning my lessons late, it's kept me young. I tend to look a few years younger than what people guess me to be. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, I wish I would have gotten a few more wrinkles and matured earlier, because I would have had more time with the things I knew were me later on that came into clarity. Yes, exactly. If it's that bad, get out. Life is too short. And this is the tough love we give to ourselves, and I agree with this. But I can also, without putting, what's his name, on blast, the video I made a comment on, you could tell he was stuck in that relationship and he's got his own problems. So I feel a level of sympathy for guys who are Gerald, where Gerald is, listen in his videos, he's being completely honest. He's not blaming, he's not even hating on his ex-wife, but it sounds like he's got every reason to, if what he says is accurate. He loves his child. He's very careful not to be a hateful person. Good for him. I mentioned to Stephanie when I watched, I said, this is the kind of guy most women say they want, and yet none of them pick. And he's just a very genuine, open guy. Well, we can kind of look in and kind of tough love him, and you should have got out earlier. And that's the same for all of us. You, me, and all of us that go on about our experiences and how hard it is to date Western women and our failures and how we couldn't speak up and we let women walk all over us. Most of us had a level of this happen to us. It's just aggravating when we see a version of it on a video with a guy who's old, and it's like, I'm reminded of flashbacks of what happened to me. And it's easy to go, oh, well, dude, it's your own fault, because we know it was our own fault as well. Crummy BCR says, what are your thoughts on people settling, in quotation marks, because they are sub 5 in looks and personality? I theorize many say because they know the odds being against them. Yeah, and don't, sorry, I'm taking my footwear off. Most people don't have a good opinion of themselves, men especially today. Men who are 7s are told by everyone that they're like a 3 or a 4 anyway. Men who are objective 7s. Many men online who are 4s think they're 10s. So, and it's also the fault of not having direct feedback with people. That the best way to know reality is to have conversations with people where they can see you, they can hear you, they can feel you, and you have a better sense of it. Online, we can bullshit ourselves. We can bullshit other people. We can put up the best photos of ourselves on dating sites. We play games. So some people do settle. I mentioned that in a video. I think that when I was young, I didn't think much of myself. I always thought I was like when I was younger, especially full head of hair, I thought I was like a 5, a 4 or 5, but objectively, I was 7 or 9 or 8.5 on a good day. When I dress up and go clubbing and take care of myself, I was going to the gym, I played sport. I was approached a couple of times at clubs to do modeling, to be a doorman. I was in a music video, I won't tell you which one. It only aired for a brief time here in Australia. It was a local singer. I played the bouncer at a nightclub. I didn't play the love interest, but I did play 1 or 2 characters in the music video in the background. So objectively, and people would tell me, hey, you're a good-looking guy. Why are you having so much problems? It's because, like, the way I think and what I think of myself, and I can't speak to women, I'm scared to death, and I don't think I'm good enough, and all that bullshit stuff. We're not objectively seeing ourselves the way we are, and living online so much today exacerbates that. Guys are thinking far, far too low about themselves, and then you got the other side that are delusional, that think they're high-value men and they're fantastic just because men built the world, therefore I built the world. No, you didn't. You're nothing, dude. So there's nothing realistic in the middle. It feels like online just keeps talking about the extremes of the bell curve, the train wrecks, and then the geniuses, the best. Whereas, 90% of us are in this fat middle of the bell curve that no one wants to talk about because it's not clickable as a video. It's relatively boring, but all the answers are found in the middle of the bell curve, not at pointing to the extremes. Of course, anyone with half a brain can avoid the train wrecks, but most of you guys don't. And you watch, not you guys, but generally most guys online look at the popular channels with all the bimbos with microphones. They're the worst of the worst at the end of the bell curve. And then we watch the best of the best, guys with Ferraris and high-value men who are billionaires. But in the middle, where we all reside that are watching YouTube videos, nah, it's boring. Yeah, I don't want to relate. I want to relate with something I'm not, never will be. And I want to relate and make fun of the old me by pointing at the train wrecks. It's just, I can't help people that don't want to be realistic and are somehow bored. Real life isn't entertaining enough for them. Fine. Be unhappy. Complain about everything. I don't care. I just don't have any more time. I know why old men become grumpy. Just tired of hearing the same excuses over and over again. Hi, Mr. Adams. Big ol' hey, man. So, let me read some of the comments here related to this question I asked in the community tab. So be sure to check the community tab where I post questions like this for upcoming streams and videos. I want to get your opinion. I put polls down. Slows to bros, whatever. Yeah, my wife. I was red-pilled, but I took a chance. Now I wish I never did. How old are you? And how long ago, I would say. She is almost nothing but a constant source of anger and frustration. Why did you marry her? That's why, like, you don't just take a chance on a wife. I don't get, like, I know a lot of people will think I did that. I just took a chance on every single woman out there. I didn't, but you can think what you want. How do you just, I was red pill and I took a chance on a woman and I just confirmed my biases. Like, if you just roll the dice on someone, she is almost nothing but a constant source of anger and frustration, mostly frustration. Should have just kept playing with myself. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What? Okay. I don't know the story. But anyway, David P., how are you, dude? Long-time supporter of the channel. Yep, and although I won't accept all the blame, a lot of it was because I was choosing the wrong partners. I wanted someone to love me, so I put up with a lot of crap I shouldn't have. Eventually, she lost respect for me, and the relationship fell apart. Yeah. I hear you, man. That was a lot of me as well. Like me, like me. Why don't you like me? They get angry. It's like, oh, what have I done wrong? You just keep shoveling more in just to be liked. Now I'm much better at standing up for myself. Speaking up for what I want, need, and expect out of a relationship. Is our blah, 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 blah. And I'm holding myself and my partner accountable. Is our relationship perfect? Oh, that's right. You're going out with someone at the moment. No, of course not. We argue, we fight sometimes. Oh, okay. Make sure they're at a minimum. But at the end of the day, we have the same goal. Do what's right for the relationship. Yes. When the arguments and the frustrations start to tip the seesaw of the relationship, then I would worry. But I would argue disagreements, needs for corrective conversation should not be normal, because then people say, oh, that's quite normal. So then it doesn't matter how many arguments you have. Peg, before I read Peg's comment, I bet you it's all positive and it's stoically perfect. She says, no, there's no room, desire, or purpose to hate in a good relationship pairing. Harboring ill will or hatred towards the other is all kinds of wrong. If it comes to that, there's been a... Why? Oh, I don't read all of it. You know? Ah, that's what's happening. Okay. Okay. Doing some real-time correction here. So it's not reading all the comments. Okay, there we go. There's been a serious lack of communication and understanding leading up to it. Maybe even pairing with the wrong person to begin with. Exactly. From the conversations I've had with Peg, she's very clear and honest, and she's aware if someone is being rude to her, is being hateful, manipulative. She's very, very self-aware, and she walks away and she will only deal with a good person, a good conversation, and she's not into the whole manipulation. So that's a great attitude to have. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me why you speak well of all of your exes, Peg. Quaz says, in answer to this question, did you ever try to love someone that seemed to hate you? Quaz, he's said this a few times, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. Those who can't love only relate through power dynamics. So think about it. I want to feel good and safe, and I'm not. I can't talk. I can't communicate. There's something that's frustrating, but I don't want to look at it. So I will force them. I'll arm wrestle them into complying with me, and then I feel safe in this relationship. Then it makes sense when I force it into a mold. But if you try and love and relate and talk, you will find out if they're compatible or if they're just not, and you have to kind of throw them back into the sea like a fish. Pure Male Dark says, for sure, one girl I dated about this turned everything into a fight. I legit mean everything. When I went to sleep or woke up, when I worked or I didn't work, what I ate, how I cleaned dishes. I loathed or how I loaded the dishwasher, how I vacuumed the carpet, how I took showers, where I used my computer. Dude, it was endless. She should have just let... 1 second, hold on. Ah, I'm muted. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, I've been muted. All right, I will go through that again. First, I will thank Ruben for his super chat. And David, he said there are almost no humble red pill creators. Human is one of them, most quite self-important. Yeah, I said, I'll repeat it. I don't really watch red pill manosphere content creators. I don't watch the drama anymore because the drama never solved anything in my life. I wanted solutions. I wanted to have conversations with people that, what did you learn from the date? Or what did you learn from your experiences? What did you learn about not doing these jobs anymore and doing the jobs you want and things like that? Yeah, it's working. Yeah, I know. Someone fly to Melbourne to tell him. Yeah, but about the only manosphere content creator I still watch is Stardust from time to time, depending on the topic he talks about, because I still respect the guy, and there's history that with me and him that he'll always be someone I'll respect and I'll think well of. Paul Proteus died a while ago. Spetsnaz passed away recently. Marcus, he posts him frequently, but I like watching him. There are manosphere guys that I would have a discussion with if they wanted to, but their actual content, it's entry-level stuff that I don't, I get nothing out of it. So them, I would enjoy having a conversation with. So there are people one-on-one I would, but content-wise, I don't really watch. I watch, unsurprisingly, a lot of, tech videos, reviews. I watch video production, filmmaking, people who do vlogs in a certain way where they're just telling their thoughts to the camera and things like that. So I like that real stuff more than the political stuff. So let's put it that way. I'm not a fan of the political manosphere stuff. I am much more of the guys just walking in the woods and, vlogging and telling you about their life, like Gerald, about what happened. These are the lessons. This is the mentoring by guys that can help other men. Okay? Dave says, I used to like some MRA guys, but they are terrible people personally and are basically narcissists. Yeah, without naming names, there's some of them that, good for them, they're successful, but they won't talk to you unless you pay them a lot of money, even for a 5-minute conversation. But, and it's a lot of the political stuff. It's their content is the same, high value this, hypergamy, looks maxing, go to the gym. It's all science, data, and stats, and that's the way you should live your life. Whereas I think the only way through is philosophically, is to know what your ethics are, to abide by them as much as possible, feel proud that you have abided by your ethics and your values, see the evidence that you did that yesterday, and then you're confident in doing it today and tomorrow. But if it's all theory that we never get to do, we never say the words to mum or dad or chicky poo or leave the job or the neighborhood, if it's all hopes and dreams, then I don't really care what a lot of the analytical science numbers-based manosphere says, and they keep pointing to the numbers. If you never use the numbers, and if you don't improve your life via your beliefs with the numbers and science and biology and all that, if the only thing you can do with it is to avoid life, which conveniently is just being lazy and being a zero, then whatever, dude, enjoy. I hope you're happy. But I have better conversations and I enjoy life when I do something, when I go out there and try something, when I feel proud of myself. And I don't feel proud of myself if I don't try to feel proud of myself. And the trying is in the doing, not in the avoiding. There are some things you can avoid and go, yeah, that's sensible. But everything? No. Yeah, I think don't lie to yourself and lose who you are as a person. Yeah. Be polite, articulate yourself well, know that you have every right to say your words beautifully and clearly to everyone else. And if they don't like it, if their face looks like they sucked on a lemon, you objectively know it's not your problem. You're not being rude. I mean, have some tact. You don't go to a funeral that someone just passed away and say, well, get over it, life goes on. Like, there's some tact, right? But generally, if there's a discussion at a family barbecue or anywhere and people are giving their opinions from different angles and you give yours, and yours might be, imbued with the very legitimate concerns of, say, the manosphere or how men are mistreated, you should have every right to beautifully articulate why you believe in what you believe in this instance. Dave says, many of these men, I think he's referring to the most popular microphone podcast kind of grifter channels that it's just all about drama. The popular manosphere channels today, the really popular ones that say they're helping men, they just seem like a game show. They seem like a reality-based TV show. All you need in the background is that cinematic Braveheart music, making it more emotionally impactful. He says most of these men are not trying to help other men be independent. They are not teachers, or do they really share? Or do you mean care? Nor do they really care. It's like groups of men who never worked with men or played sports. That is actually an astute point. These guys never look like they've worked with men, played sports with men, had friends they hang out with, and kind of touch life with hobbies and interests and a beer or something, you know? That's true. I get that feeling too. The web lets men hide your true selves and they can't handle directness. Yeah. I just wish men would be direct without all the bravado. I swear it would change so many things. First, with yourself, you would feel reborn. I swear. I can't stress enough how being honest with how you think, articulating it to the camera, to the page, to other people, improving the way you express yourself, the clarity and the liberating feeling that you get and the proudness you feel about yourself in knowing what you believe. You don't have to be right. Like, just because I'm so certain about a lot of things and I know who I am doesn't mean I'm right about everything. You can't keep pointing to the data and going, see, I'm right. Aren't I right? The data, tell me I'm right, data. Tell the girls, tell the guys. It's like, no, you. I respect the guy where no matter what the data says, and I know it could be risky, but when the guy, you throw data at him and you say, well, you know, this could happen, skydiving and whatever, this is risky. And the guy goes, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. He's a smile on his face and he has no fear. He knows what he's doing and he doesn't give a flying F what you think. You're not his mother. Let him do what he wants. And a lot of guys are the opposite of that. Bravery in men, I mean true bravery, standing up for what you believe in, that's very rare, very rare. I'm not saying I'm a great example of that, by no means, but yeah, you don't see very much of it at all. So again, any more comments on this? When your partner is annoyed at you all the time, how you leave your cup, how you chew your food, when you sleep, every movement you make, they get annoyed at you. You have to kind of be frozen in bed. You don't want to upset your partner. I've had that. I think I mentioned the story once where one of my exes, she kicked me out of bed because apparently I was snoring and she horse kicked me and half of my torso flew out of bed. I had to stop myself flying out of bed. She kicked me that hard. And, you know, when you're startled, you don't know what's going on. And when I realized what was going on, that was the beginning of the end very quickly. Remember, if you'd like to ask a question or a comment related to this that you think would be useful to people about when you've had someone, a partner, a wife, a lover, a girlfriend or anything, or even if you're a girl who had a boyfriend, and they're always annoyed and irritated at you, and you don't want to face the fact that someone that actually loves and likes you doesn't hate the small things. Someone that likes and loves you might get annoyed at the big things, like you were drunk or you missed the wedding and you were embarrassed, like something huge that you embarrassed her and your relationship, and you know you failed in a big way objectively and there's no way out of it. You can understand them. But even then, you work through it and she gives you a hard time because you deserve it. But the small things are nothing. With Stephanie, we've been married for a couple of years. I've known her for a few years before that, but life's very easy we might have deer in headlight moments where there's a tough moment that we both have to kind of discuss, or what do we do here, or I thought you meant this, but they're very rare. Small things, she doesn't complain. You should be getting along easily. Peg here in the comments section, she's been married twice to, it looks like, 2 wonderful men, and she hasn't got a bad word to say about any of them. She's got a positive attitude about relationships and finding a companion. And I would say you should too. Lean with that. If you lean with a defensive, they can't be trusted, don't trust men, women, they're all terrible, they all got a knife behind their back, just ready to give it to you, to shiv you. You feel like you're in the prison yard just waiting to be shivved, then I would say, why are you even dating? Why? Don't date MMA fighters. Yeah, if she's disrespectful to you, it's over. That was a big moment a couple of relationships ago where the ex of mine, she got angry at something I was so shocked and surprised at that I didn't think it warranted that sort of expression. Where she picked me up from a venue I was at, and she could see me standing at the corner, and I was just finishing a conversation with a guy, and I saw her, and I just waved, and I said, like, wait, and I texted her, I said, just wait a second, I'm just finishing up a chat, and I'll be there. And she just kept beeping, beep, beep, the car, and I'm like this, like, stop beeping, what's wrong with you? I got in the car, and the looks on her eyes, I didn't recognize her. She looked like she wanted to kill me. And we drove a while in silence. She wouldn't speak to me, and she parked, and she just blew up verbally, and she told me I disrespected her. She was there to pick me up, and don't ever do that again. And I just kind of went silent, and I said, okay, you will never, ever in your life have to pick me up ever again. I promise. That'll never happen again. I promise, sweetheart. And it never did, because we broke up. Not right then and there, but it was very quick after that. But I kept to my word. I never asked her to take me anywhere, pick me up after that. It's like, if you're going to act that way, you're going to take responsibility for your actions. Same with me. You got to realize when you're acting irrationally and immaturely. Step outside of it. Am I really in the right, or have I been acting a bit emotional? Trust, but verify. Yes. Yes. Let me go back a bit. Have I missed any comments? I don't think so. All right. Any final comments, and we'll wrap the stream up. We've been going for nearly an hour. That's a nice place to end it, I think. And also, feel free to watch the latest video here, where I talk about this issue, about trying to keep a happy person happy just makes you miserable. You just can't. And I give the example of when I've had these moments, you're on eggshells and you just want them to have a smile on their face, and you start associating the relief of them not being angry at you anymore as love. And that's not love. That's just relief. Love and relief are two different things. Most of the relationships guys have, these dysfunctional ones that I had as well. When you start identifying relief as love because you're giving the tyrant what they want, you're feeding the wolf all the time, then you'll start to have relationships like Stockholm Syndrome. You'll start to love your captor. And enough of life and the conditioning of men out there is doing enough of that on its own. When you get a person in your proximal life, your intimate partner, doing that too, you're finished. There's almost no way out. You really have to speak. Again, speak your words. That's got less of a chance to happen. When I've had dates when I was in my 40s when I learned to speak much, much better, and I was completely open. The filter was up, and I asked them every question, any curiosity, any red flag, whatever. I just asked them all of it. The dates didn't last, and not just because of me, because of them. They were like, no, I don't think you're too honest, you're too talkative, you're too out there, you talk too much, you think too much. It's like, yeah, you either like this and you've got nowhere to hide, and some of them don't like it. And some of them don't like the honesty that I insist a relationship is. because of how much I talk, because of how direct I am. The more direct and honest I became, the more fluent, the more my vernacular was in line with how I thought, the more intimidating, and I'm not saying intimidating because I'm better, but more intimidating because they would have to meet me at least part way with this open, direct communication, and they couldn't, or they didn't want to. They wanted to exist like most people, just coast along relationships like they've always been, especially with women where they don't say anything and their temper comes out later. They tell you who they really are later, or they show you who they really are later, because a lot of people don't say, that they don't express with words at the beginning where it's really useful. They don't express and tell you who they are. You have to waste a lot of time observing and then being honest with yourself, and then acknowledging what you see, and then being tough enough and honest enough and direct enough to acknowledge that to yourself and to them, and possibly break up. There is a lot of gaslighting and conditioning that goes on beforehand. Big Ol says, notice that women will only become abusive when they feel they have you in a weak position, trapped in a car, trapped in a marriage, trapped in the lawyer's office. Yeah. Yep. And notice how many times, whenever you're in a free environment, I've noticed there were at least 3 or 4 times I can remember quite vividly where it was over and I wanted to be free. They couldn't confine me in the house. I'm saying, that's it, it's over, I'm leaving. And they run to the door and they block the door. And they're like, I can't believe you would end it. I can't believe you don't want to talk it out. And I'm like, we did try and it's not going anywhere. This is, they want you trapped. It's like, but if it's out in the park, if it's out in the open, if it's a calm, free, open conversation, no, it's always, yeah. It is curious that that happens sometimes. Andrew Tate explained that before every fight, in the last 3 days when he was dehydrating all week, all of his girlfriends would start arguments. The shit tests arise when they perceive weakness. Maybe, but again, all of that biological stuff that I know you love reading about, that, Big Ol, but it goes out the window when you've got a reasonable, nice person that actually cares about you. When the woman cares about you, those instincts come really to the front of someone who you're not compatible with, is like everyone else. You know, so Stephanie liked me already from the start, and she's never wavered in how she treats me in that way. And we communicate, but yeah, I could see most women doing that. But again, don't get with most women. I'm not saying magic will happen and you will find your unicorn, but I'm saying, again, the biology is not telling you that every woman you love will do this because it's in their biology. It's like every woman you love irrationally that you haven't had the time to vet and know you can trust over time probably will. I would imagine Andrew Tate, like the rest of us, the younger he was, the more naive he was. But now that he's older, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't get with any kind of women that would be like this. I'd almost guarantee, with everything he knows and the way he speaks, he would. How long ago was this? When he was fighting, this would have been before the whole YouTube online social media thing. This is basically when he was the bridge between when he was poor in Luton and where he is now. But yeah, that would have been long ago. The lessons I learned in my 20s. Okay, what are the lessons you learned now in your 40s and 50s? Where you are now. What have you learned now, proximally in your life? No, but also, I think we should also have the discernment to cherry pick like a buffet the things that are actually true, because a lot of these popular people that they promote, and I don't dislike Andrew Tate like most people do. There are certain things, the way his bravado in certain ways that the camera catches him, yeah, not my kind of thing. But then again, he's probably been caught on camera by friends in lighthearted moments and he's having a laugh. So I don't hold too much against him. But I would say we also have to have the discernment to cherry pick the truths, because a lot of the popular lies out there, especially by the powers that be, they get you in by truth. It's just the same as a lot of sects where, like Scientology, the first level, I talked about this with Stephanie on our stream. You think, why are so many people into this group think? It's because you look at the entry to that group think. It's very practical, stoic, great self-help. That gets you in. That's the first level. Once you get in there, then you're locked in for some reason by yourself or by them, and then you find it hard to get out. So I wouldn't throw away everything Andrew Tate says, because he says a lot of great stuff. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Big Ol. Yeah, I'm not a fan too, but he says some interesting stuff, and I don't dislike him at all. Some stuff makes me roll my eyes, but that's not in anything he elicits as an accurate truth, but it's more to do with his personal perspectives or his sense of humor, and sometimes he's more hard on people in the way he is than I would be, but then again, that's just him. Karu was saying, I'm just being human now. I'm being too nice and agreeable. I mowed the lawn yesterday. Now it's pouring rain outside. I'm glad I did it. Babe, if you're listening to this stream, I told you I was right. Stephanie yesterday was really hot, and she said, don't mow the lawn, just relax. I was like, nah, I'm going to do it now, because tomorrow if it rains and I can't be bothered, I'm going to really hate that I didn't do it yesterday. And now I feel good. Yeah, Melee says, the real question is, why aren't you happy? Ask that question. All right. Did I miss Disco Cobra's super chat? I thought was that when my mute button? I have no Disco Cobra super chat. I've got Ruben's. You are right. Thank you. Sorry. Disco Cobra. And thank you, Boffin. Thanks for the super chat. He says, as someone who suffers from... Actually, my white t-shirt. As someone who suffers from schizotypical personality disorder, it does feel like others are in my head, even women, mostly liberal or left-leaning women. It's weird. I still stand up for myself, but it's scary. It's a scary disorder. Also, I believe that I trust that you have had professional diagnosis of this, but also don't take it to heart too much, and just try to address the way you act. And I think you will feel prouder of getting over it rather than a label that you can't do anything about. But I'm sure it does really accentuate when others treat you badly. Yeah, it doesn't feel like others are in my head. Yeah, when other people's beliefs are your voice, their voice is your voice, and you have to work really hard not to speak to yourself like others do. Yeah, I can't say that I really have that in a big regard, but that must be tough to deal with. Yeah, someone actually asked to start Big Mac. Yeah, thanks, Karu. I had to go get Stephanie a Big Mac after your suggestion last time. I was going to take a photo and send it to you, but we didn't. All right. Yeah, also, how was the Big Mac? All right, I think we're done. Unless there's any final super chats or questions, let's wrap the stream up. This was a good one. Let me know your experience, because I think a lot of us have heard about it, but many of us have been with women that are ostensibly nice, but then they get irritated by the smallest things, and you try to be nice, but who knows what they see from the other perspective. I can't imagine they had much to complain about, because I'm a fairly calm and agreeable person. But the fact that a person I decided to commit to, they were kind of calm and nice, they turned into a monster. It's like, okay, were you always this way? Or are you getting frustrated because I am not a good fit for you and we can't admit it to each other? I'm trying. It's like, what am I doing wrong? All right, did I actually annoy you? I'll try not to do that again. Then you start to notice every little thing I do is annoying you. It's like, all right, this is ridiculous now. And it's also, guys in particular have much more of a problem letting go of bad girlfriends, because when we invest into something, we find it very hard to let go of the investment. The zero sunk cost fallacy is much more prevalent with men. Okay. Let's see. 2 super chats. I've done both of them. All right. Enjoy your weekend, guys. It's raining here. I hope you got something out of that. Leave your comments under this if you got any more about this topic. And also on my channel, have a look at the latest video here. That's I think it's on the homepage. It's on the homepage as well here. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video or stream. Hopefully next video, but possibly stream in the coming week. And have a good weekend. Bye.